Yes, ma'am.
I love you, Dad.
I like that. I like that.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, son.
I missed you.
He ain't the same guy I pulled out of that blazing wreck 35 years ago. So, okay, people always ask me, Johnny, to say, how did you get here? I'd tell them in the usual way, same as everybody else, same as you, your friends, everybody else. I got here the same way as you. My mummy and daddy loved each other very much. One thing led to another, they got engaged, they went courting for a long time. One thing led to another, nature took its course, here I am. No, Johnny, it wasn't an existential question. What we wanted to know was, what method of transport did you employ? And I tell them, in the best kind of car known to man, and that car is? Quite right, and not a larder, as one guy once suggested. The difference between a larder and a sheep, it's marginally less embarrassing being discovered getting out the back of a sheep. The difference between a larder and a Jehovah's Witness, you can close the door on a Jehovah's Witness. No, these are the social advantages inherent in a rented vehicle as follows, like this. Double park, don't lock the door, push the pedals through the floor, give it loads and then some more. It's a hire car, baby. Grip the stick, grind the gears, watch that distance disappear, never be yours in 1,000 years. It's a hire car, baby. Hire car, why would anybody buy a car? Bang it, prang it, say ta-ta. It's a hire car, baby. Bad behaviour on the street, save yourself a couple of sheets, collision waiver, keep it sweet. It's a hire car, show this motor no respect, bump it, dump it, call collect. What else did the firm expect? It's a hire car, baby. Hire car, why hot wire a car? Whenever you require a car, hire a car, baby. Drive the motherfucker anywhere, just like you don't care. Put it down to wear and tear, it's a hire car, baby. Pray the person who hired it last did not drive it quite so fast. This Dagenham Dodgem doesn't last, it's a hire car. Try not to kill yourself or injure anybody else. Don't forget to fasten your belts, rent it, dent it, bang it, prang it, scorch it, torch it, crash and burn it, don't return it. Lost deposit, let them earn it. Who cares? It's on the firm, it's a hire car, baby. Yes, rented, man. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Here's one. Here's a couple of quick ones. First of all, this one's a limerick, but it doesn't rhyme. You know why? Because it's a long story, but I'll cut it down. I'll cut to the chase. In fact, I wrote this in the town of Limerick in the south of Ireland 25 years ago. It went like this. Condoms were very difficult to obtain in the Republic of Ireland in those days. In fact, they used to smuggle them in bags of heroin. So I was hanging around with nothing to do, and the pressure was on. Johnny, we're in the capital city of poetry in all the world. Everybody knows Limerick. It's where they invented poetry, especially the limerick. So let's have a limerick about Limerick. Okay, give me a pen. I once knew a fella from Limerick. Hold it right there. This may surprise you, but not everything that rhymes is true. I found this out because I thought, well, at least try to tell the truth in the first line. You've never known anybody from Limerick. Try to. All right, I'll do a rewrite. There once was a fella from Limerick. You can't argue with that. So I opened it up there. There once was a fella from Limerick, but where do you go from there? Nothing rhymes with Limerick. Don't go racking your brains. I've looked into it. I'm a professional, so you don't have to. Nothing rhymes with Limerick. The nearest I can get is turmeric, and you try working that ubiquitous yellow spice into a viable rhyme scheme. Nothing rhymes with it anyway, so there I was at a loose. So in revenge, I wrote this limerick that doesn't rhyme, and it's not even about in fact, the limerick about Limerick. You get the first line, and where do you go from there? It's like the Irish knock-knock joke. Do you know that one? Go on, you start. Who's there? You can guess all night, but you don't know who's there. It's dead in the water. You can't go on from the first line. It's like the limerick about Limerick. Well, this is a limerick that ain't about Limerick, and it doesn't even rhyme. So my memory is long and my vengeance is total. And this is it. This puts the issue to bed, as far as I'm concerned. With this limerick about Limerick that doesn't rhyme, I will achieve closure. Right, so don't worry about me. Goes like this anyway, so I'm telling you up front it's not going to rhyme, so I don't want any snotty letters after the event on the lines of, you know, dear sir, imagine my disappointment upon attending a poetry reading by the late John Cooper Clarke, only to discover that his so-called limerick failed to rhyme.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, son. I love you, but don't try to sue me under the Trades Descriptions Act, because I told you up front it's not going to rhyme. It's not, and anyway, it wouldn't do you any good. I've tried, believe me, I've tried. I've been in litigation with Time Warner Video for the last 27 years on account of that never-ending story. But I blame my lawyer for the lack of success. You don't want a lawyer that starts every conversation with, well, I'm no legal expert, but... If there are any lawyers out there tonight, by the way, I need the answer to this legal question by the end of the evening, if possible, right? I'll level with you. A friend of mine was recently sent to prison for something he didn't do. He didn't run when the police came to arrest him. And... so I need the answer to this question, this legal question by the end of the evening. And my question is this: if you shot a peasant, right? If you shot a peasant, could you get off on the grounds of dyslexia? Could you walk on a technicality there? It's very important that I find out the answer by the end of the evening. But anyway, here's the limerick that doesn't rhyme, like this, as advertised. There once was a fella from Lee, thought he'd been stung by a wasp. When asked did it hurt, he said no, it can do it again if it wants. You see how that didn't rhyme there? Here's a couple of, there's a well-known form of poetry pioneered in the field. I'm going to dedicate this to mine and Gerald's mutual friend, Mr. Damo Suzuki here. This is my haiku, dedicated to Damo there. How is it? How's the leg? How's the leg?
The leg?
Yeah.
What leg?
Well, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with the medical matters later. All right, here it is then, a haiku. A haiku is a well-known form of poetry pioneered in the 15th century in Japan by a geezer called Basho, who wrote for the Floating World School of Zen Buddhism. This is a poem of a 17-syllable discipline. The first of many, I'm sure. Haiku number 1, I call it, like this. To convey one's mood in 17 syllables is very difficult. Anyway, count them later. Meanwhile, here's a couple of advertising jingles I wrote last week. I don't normally do adverts unless I'm right behind the products. And that's why I like Eddie's Yacht Supplies for all your nautical needs. And we'll be back after these messages. Now back to When Animals Attack Magicians. Pick a card, any. Ah! Here's the advertising jingles now. This one I wrote for the Martini people in the hope that in return they would send to me a year's supply or a lifetime supply, whichever is the greater, of their enervating beverage. And this one's called Home Honey I'm High, like this, for the Martini people. Home Honey I'm High. Frontal lobes just had a trim, or have you met the Moonies? Wrong on both counts, Jim. Too many martinis. Zoom. This is Class A material at a charity bash.